Seu Zé, deixa eu te perguntar, como é que era essa relação com as onças, quando você começou a trabalhar com isso aqui?
Quando eu entrei aqui, tinha um cara que era caçador.
Then, can you tell me how Oncafari started?
I've always been passionate about wildlife, so I took like 2-3 years off traveling the world, and what I learned from that was that ecotourism was saving a lot of these species, and I thought that this was the way I could contribute with wildlife in Brazil. To do that, my strong belief was that we had to be able to see jaguars. Here in Brazil, nobody had ever heard about habituation, and that had never been done with jaguars. 11 years ago, people, when we started this project, thought we were crazy, that it was impossible to habituate jaguars. But 11 years later, we prove it's possible.
We're heading out this morning to look for jaguars. So now as we move through the reserve here, as we come upon any other wildlife, we're going to be filming and photographing them as well, and learning about the conservation project here to protect the Pantanal. So we just spotted 2 marsh deer over here in the field. So I've got a 400mm on and a 2x teleconverter because I'm not sure exactly how close they're gonna get. They're quite relaxed, and I'm actually gonna walk out into the field to see if I can allow them to walk towards me and portrait them as they come towards me.
My name is Edu Fragoso. I'm a biologist and I've been working here for 7 years. The Oncafari is an organization created to protect the jaguars and the ecosystem. Right now we are at Caiman. Caiman is located in the southern Pantanal, in Mato Grosso do Sul. The interesting thing about Caiman is because we have been conciliating cattle ranching and ecotourism and conservation. The cattle ranching here in the Pantanal started almost 300 years ago. And this brings also a problem because the Cowboys and Jaguars, they have this wildlife conflict because sometimes the Jaguars can prey upon cattle, which brings conflict to them. And some Cowboys, some farmers can just shoot Jaguars in retaliation or to protect their herds. We are trying with ecotourism, with environmental education, and trying to solve this conflict to minimize and to protect jaguars, but also protect people as well. There's another jaguar at the carcass. It's 1-year-old jaguar.
Maybe we can go to that one. That'd be great.
Okay, I'm gonna move.
So we're sitting here at the carcass of a cow with a young jaguar, about 1 year old, and it's just after the sun has really gone behind the trees and it's quite dark. I'm using the 400 f2.8 with a 2x teleconverter, and there's just enough light at ISO 1600 and 1/400th of a second and 5.6. It's pretty much on the borderline of the limitations of the lens with the image stabilization, but I'm pretty certain I can at least get a couple of shots just of the ambiance here to capture and document this jaguar. Thank you. What a lovely little jaguar. That was really nice and totally unexpected. The jaguar actually just moved twice the distance closer to us and was able to remove the 2x teleconverter and now go down to f2.8 and get so much more light. And it's incredible. This young jaguar is just right there chilling. So I guess, could you explain what it is, habituation of jaguars?
The habituation is the process that you accustomate the jaguars to the human presence on vehicles and allow us to study them better in the nature and also to bring visitors to see them in the wild. This magnificent big cat.
sitting here with a male and a female jaguar that have been mating, and we're trying to get into the right position to document them, to capture both video and audio in addition to the photographs. And it's been a real challenge because they keep moving between the bushes, but I think we're getting some great stuff. In situations like this where the subject is just behind grass, sometimes the camera can focus on the grass and not entirely on the subject. So on this lens, I have full-time DMF enabled, which allows me to just adjust the focus ring a little bit to correct for the inability of the lens to detect between the subject and the grass. Maybe people are curious, like, do you collar all the jaguars and how does that work?
No, not at all. Over the years, we recorded more than 200 jaguars in this area, and we have like 6 collared jaguars now. So it's a very small part of the local population. And the collars just allow us to understand the jaguars better. So it's very important to protect them in the future through scientific information.
How does it allow people that come here to see jaguars without collars?
For example, we are here for a couple of days and we saw just 11 different jaguars and only 2 were collared. Sometimes we find a collared jaguar, but another uncollared jaguar comes, like a cub or a male or a different one to fight or something like that.
Photography-wise, it's a really nice position to be at the same level as the subject, as this jaguar right now. So nice. I want to get a little bit more of her body in the way that her framing is right now. It's actually a perfect composition because you see the leading line of her back moving down into the left side of the frame and her paws in front. And if she faces us, that will make a perfect sort of triangular composition. And I'm able to do that at 400 millimeters based on the distance that we are from her. Years ago, would this have even been possible to see a wild jaguar like we did now, just a few meters away?
Yes, it was like very rare encounters with jaguars. And now we can just see the jaguars on a daily basis, only because the habituation process.
And through this, what has been the perception change of the other people that live in the area?
Especially this one, for example, we're very close to where the Cowboys live. So they know this specific jaguar very, very well. Jaguars have like personalities and we name them. And then we create this bond between cowboys and jaguars. That's why the cowboys are changing their mindset so fast.
Eu 52 anos que eu trabalho aqui. Quando eu entrei aqui, tinha um cara que era caçador. Era difícil a gente encontrar ela, mas quando encontrava ela, nós não mexia com ela. Já tinha o cara, só avisava, passou a outra parte, ele já ia. Você cumpria as coisas, a gente perseguia ela. Né? Hoje nós aprendemos a preservar ela também.
The Pantanal is basically dominated by cattle ranching. It's over like 80% of the area in Brazilian side, and 93% of the Pantanal is private owned. So most of the jaguar population here is outside protected areas. So they live side by side with cattle ranching. We have been trying and we have been thinking about solutions to promote this coexistence between cattle ranching and jaguar conservation here in this area. We are repeating a strategy that the Australian researchers used in Botswana to avoid livestock depredation caused by lions. And it worked very, very well. And we are trying to test this for the first time here in Brazil with the jaguars.
The basic idea is that by painting eyes on the backs of the cattle, when the jaguars notice the eyes, it tricks them into thinking that they've been seen. And because jaguars depend on the element of surprise to hunt, they'll now be more likely to abandon their prey, the cattle.
We have this excellent relationship with the Cowboys. They allow us to test these strategies with their cattle here. And if this strategy works, it would be perfect and we can spread this strategy all over the Pantanal, and maybe this can be tested with other big cat species around the world.
Muita coisa mudou, a gente preserva e a turma aprendeu, né? A gente pôs na consciência e falou que daqui a um tempo, o que meu neto vai ver? Não vai ver nada mais. Meus filhos ainda pegou, o neto ainda pegou. E meu neto não vai ter as onças que tem.
Through protecting the jaguars, we also want to protect the Pantanal and all the ecosystems throughout Brazil.